The first thing I noticed from VOD reviewing Tayson and Chapix was when gliding out of spawn, they both land at the same spot, which decreases their chances of dying off spawn straight away, as one of them can't be 2v1 by a team. Because Chapix and Tayson are some of the smartest players in the world, they don't just take one factor into surviving off spawn. The reason they land on the little hill with a small building in the center of the map is because it allows them to already be on the high ground of spawn, which they can use to scout where everyone lands around them, who they can push to get kills, and where it's less congested to rotate to for more loot. And another factor they take into account, which most pro Fortnite players do as well, is having a good glide off of the bus. To win more consistently off spawn, you need to make sure you always have the better glide for where you are landing. This will allow you to land before the enemy and maybe shoot them out of the air, or at least get more loot before them. So when you fight, you have the loot advantage, which makes it really easy for you to get the kill. In this video, I'm going to be giving you fighting tips as well. The first one is, when getting into a fight, you should always try to be the aggressive team controlling the fight. One of the best ways of controlling fights Chapix and Tayson show here, and that is when approaching the fight, they focus on getting height. Once they get height, they look to put pressure on the team below them by spraying with their SMGs. Also, a quick note, in the most recent Fortnite update, the combat SMG has been removed from the game. The Stinger is still good, but carrying the hammer AR may not be a bad option now. This is more of a warning than a tip. Recently, there's been a change to tree mechanics, which is causing a lot more people to die to them, and there's many clips with people in the stacked endgames pickaxing a tree into people's boxes to get easy kills. Here Tayson gets shit on by a tree, so my warning is, be careful of trees around you if you're boxed up or just rotating or shooting someone while standing still. When they got good loot of spawn, they Wkey'd the team contesting the center of the map. They didn't need to harvest materials because it was so early in the game, so they knew the opponents were not going to have many mats as well. Tayson and Chapix won the fight with ease as they surprised the enemies and Wkey'd efficiently. Because of Tayson having good awareness of his drop spot, he does a nice play with the toilet to get a good angle behind the enemies. This shows that you should focus on all the different features of your drop spot and use them to your advantage. Also, due to Tayson being so smart, his skin ends up losing his head. So be careful guys, if you get too smart from watching my videos, you may lose your head. To stop getting 2v1'd when you're waiting for your teammate to come help you, what you need to do is copy what Tayson does here. Knowing that this duo will try to be over aggressive to him, Tayson does not stay on the ground and let himself get crammed into the corner. Instead, he cranks up the height and looks for damage onto the enemies to slow them down and allow Chapix to get to him sooner. Chapix does an amazing edit here to prevent himself from getting max pumped. He gets the starting shot on the enemy, then gets piece control on him, and when editing the wall, he does a bottom corner 3-tile edit, which makes it impossible for the guy to shoot Chapix. So, if you're looking for a great, safe right hand peek edit, I would recommend you to implement this exact one that Chapix did into your fighting. And the award to the most stealthy players in Fortnite goes to Mini Mitch and DYLC. Woo! Actually learned something from this clip, and that is, bushes are very useful if you're a very passive team, or if you're trying to save mass and wait to see where the next zone is and then plan on rotating. Whenever Chapix and Tayson approach a duo's box, they apply pressure with their SMGs from 2 different angles. This is a great way to make a duo panic in their box, but the mistake many duos make is they pressure too close to the box. One of them ends up getting pyramided and boxed like a fish. What Chapix and Tayson do to avoid this is they're always 2 boxes away when they're spraying their SMGs. Then they just wait for one of the players in the box to make a mistake, like not holding the wall and getting beamed by an SMG. When that happens, Chapix and Tayson play a lot more aggressive and try to clean up the kills fast. There's not much to say for this kill other than the fact that Tayson has mastered the basics of fighting in Fortnite. What he does that is so good is when the opponent edits on him, he swings to the left to make the guy miss his shot, and it also gives Tayson a wonderful right hand peek. While that fight was going on, Chapix is 1v1ing the guy's teammate, and again Chapix has the bottom corner 3-tile edit showing how good it is to not take damage every time. You may wonder why you got sprayed by the entire lobby when trying to Wkey in Endgame. The main reasons are because you are fighting in between everyone, or because you are building in weak materials such as brick or wood. What you should be doing when trying to Wkey in Endgame is when approaching the box you're about to Wkey, you should build walls in metal to protect yourself, and ideally you should try and Wkey your opponents from an angle where less people have sights on you. In this clip, Chapix and Tayson do this perfectly. They both build cover in metal when fighting, and not many enemies have sights in them as they're in a low congested area. You may have thought I was only going to say how amazing Chapix and Tayson are for the entire video, but actually, here Tayson makes a bad mistake when going for the kill on a D-row. Tayson played too aggressive and tunnel visioned on the kill instead of playing patient and having good awareness on where a D-row's teammate was. This ends up getting Tayson knocked as he was in the box that was all enemy edits. This prevented from Chapix stopping the guy from finishing the Tayson. After Chapix gets Tayson's reboot card, he tries to reboot him in Greasy, but can't because he would have died to the storm, which is ticking for 5. So my tip for you is never try to reboot your teammate in storm if it is ticking above 5, as you'll die or just waste all your way heals and still have no teammate. When rebooting your teammate in endgame, you should base up the van with metal, so then you can't get sprayed and easily die. Then, when your teammate spawns in the air, he will get shot out of the sky and get knocked, unless he's in the matrix and somehow dodges all the bullets. Unfortunately for Tayson, he is not in the matrix and he gets knocked. But the smart thing he does is, when he does get knocked, he made sure he landed behind cover so no one could finish him. This allowed Chapix then to come along and revive him. Earlier I mentioned how being patient is an important rule to be good at fighting. Here, Chapix was waiting patiently for the right moment to push the enemies on height above them. When he hears the enemy get cracked off his shields, he does a clean side jump and knocks the enemy. If you want to do a play like this, all you do is practice side jumps in creative and to know when to time it, so you don't get predicted and max pumped. These low elo lobbies, Chapix and Tayson show how easy it is to get height. Low elo means you're playing against players with low amounts of points in the tourney, and high elo means you're playing against players with high amounts of points. That would be players who are top 500 or so. Anyway, to get height in these low elo lobbies, it is really easy. Here Chapix and Tayson notice the high team are not rotating the front side of the zone, even though the map is showing that they didn't pull. So because of high team playing bad, all Chapix and Tayson have to do is go front side and build upwards to be on height, and then spray at opposite height. There's nothing opposite height could have done, as they need to rotate the zone as it's on their back, so then they drop, so Tayson and Chapix don't just keep spraying them and killing them. And this leaves Tayson and Chapix to have the freest height ever. When playing height in moving zones, people will try and contest you. You shouldn't be scared to fight for it when they do, but if you get hit hard like Chapix does here, it would be dumb to keep fighting for it without healing, as you would only have to be shot once and you're dead. So that's why Chapix and Tayson go down into the same box and heal up instead of tunnel visioning on keeping height and being greedy. Then, after healing, Chapix does a good job sneaking up and getting a surprise shot on the opponent, and he then pieces him up. This allows for Chapix and Tayson to regain control of the fight. My final tip for you is, when Chapix and Tayson are trying to keep height and get kills at the same time, they only ever spray down with their SMGs or box fight and look for double edits on second height. The reason they never go lower than second height is because if they did, then second height could just spray down at them and then they could just build up and take control of the fight. Anyway guys, if you found this video helpful, hit the like button and goodbye.